Hello all, and welcome to your post-run beer review. Tonight I'll be reviewing another beer out of the Sierra Nevada Seasonal 4-pack. And this one is probably my favorite out of the 4-pack. Well, so far. I haven't tried the Golden yet, but it's probably going to have a tough time beating this one. And that is, of course, Ruthless Rye IPA. Now, let me just go and read this here. Ruthless Rye IPA is brewed with rustic grains for refined flavors, combining the peppery spice of rye and the bright citrus flavors of whole cone hops to create a complex ale for the tumultuous transition to spring. Rye has been a staple grain for millennia, sought after for its stubborn resilience in the field and revered for its unique flavor. Ruthless Rye IPA is brewed with rustic grains for refined flavors, combining the peppery spice of rye and the bright citrusy flavors of whole cone hops to create a complex ale for the tumultuous transition to spring. I should be a narrator, shouldn't I? So this is 6.6 ABV, so pretty strong. I could make this a session ale though, that's how much I like it. Now it's 55 IBU, so not overly bitter, thankfully. I'm kind of getting tired of overly hot things. As you know, my big thing is, as always, balance. So, without further ado, let's pour this bad boy, or bad girl as it were, out. Seems much more of a feminine drink to me. Just opening it up, you get that smell of rye. It's like popping open a bottle of rye whiskey or high rye content bourbon. A frothy, medium thick, beige yellow head. Beautiful, slightly translucent, copper orange coloration. Very strongly floral hops. And underneath that, rye grains. You really smell the rye in this. There's a bit of a citrus kick to it. That's a bit of a mix of that citrus tang that rye adds, as well as the citrus of the hops. I find that rye goes really, really well with strong hopping because rye has such a strong, robust flavor to it. In the front, big rye spice right there, which combines with the carbonation. So you get that carbonation, prickliness, and that rye spice out in the front. Mid-palate. Very effervescent, hot, flowery smells entering into nasal cavities, while citrus and spice, just a sweet hint, just a hint of sweetness plays around in that mid-palate. And then you get to the finish, which I absolutely love. On the top, you have that defined grapefruit and bitterness of a long hop finish. And underneath that, this very defined, very strong and flavorful rye breadiness. Both of those elements are very distinct and very clear, while both at the same time. There's no mushiness about it. You just immediately pick it out. From that blast of rye to the front, to that interplay of flavors in the middle, and that interesting finish, you know, I love this beer. This is a great beer. It's what I wish a lot of IPAs were like, in which, you know, you have that high hopping, you know, those 55 IBUs, they're there. You feel them and taste them. But at the same time, you got malts that go and stand right up to it, you know? And as an IPA, obviously hops should be at the forefront, and they still are, but, you know, there's none of this, hey, where are the malts, you know? Or, geez, they're just sweet, goopy malts, like somebody just dumped a whole bunch of grain in there to kind of balance that bitterness out. No, it's very well apparent, very well balanced. And, excuse me. And, you know, that's why I love Sierra Nevada, that's why I love rye, and that's why I love this beer. I noticed it's only taken me 6 minutes to discuss this beer, and that's because, you know, there's not much to suss out about it, and that's what's great. Everything is so distinct, every taste element and smell element, well balanced, you know? And there's none of this, well, what is this that I'm tasting? None of this, it's boom, boom, boom. Hits all those points. So, you know, it comes into, like, you get into that middle ground where a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, you're trying to suss something out. And there's the bad stuff where it's like, you can't talk much about this because it sucks. And there's the good stuff where it's like, can't say much about this because it's so good. You know, it all comes to me right away. It all comes together. That's this beer. And for that purpose, I'm going to suggest that if you're like me, you like rye beers, or what's more commonly for people to like, rye whiskeys. You know, those tastes that you get in a rye, you know, a rye distilled beverage, a rye fermented beverage. If you like IPAs, same thing. You got the best of both worlds in there. And so with that, highly recommend it. You should go out and get the Sierra Nevada seasonal box set. Anyone in the United States and parts of Canada has no excuse for not getting it. Sorry, Australians and Great Britanners and whatnot, but you get a lot of great stuff that I can't get, so there. And that, folks, is your beer review for tonight. It's a real 2 thumbs up for tonight. We're in a great cap for a run, and kind of a great cap for a kind of dismaying day at work in which I had to be bailed out this morning. So, that's your beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers. Happy Rye Day.